Real painting is a mysterious and continuous struggle with chance. Mysterious because the very substance of the paint can make such a direct assault upon the nervous system. Continuous because the medium is so fluid and subtle that every change that is made loses what is already there in the hope of making a fresh gain. I think that painting today is pure intuition and luck, and taking advantage of what happens when you splash the bits down. You may say we're always trying to defeat death by leaving images. It won't make any difference. You'll just be dead. An image may live on. There it is.
Francis Bacon is one of the essential artists of the 20th century. From 3 studies for figures at the base of a crucifixion, which he painted in 1944, through to works made just before his death in 1992, Bacon undertook a pitiless analysis in paint of himself and his friends, of the human body, and of our place in a godless universe. Bacon was born in Ireland in 1909. After a visit to Berlin in the late 1920s, he worked in London as an interior designer. He lived mostly in London for the rest of his life, combining a bohemian lifestyle with the rigorous pursuit of his art. From 1961 he lived and worked in 7 Rhys Mews, South Kensington. His studio and its contents have been meticulously reconstructed at the Hugh Lane Gallery in Dublin. This film offers a focused look at many of Bacon's major canvases. The words, newly recorded by Derek Jacobi, are taken from the artist's rare written statements about art and from a number of interviews, including the exceptional series conducted by the critic David Sylvester.
Painting is a world of its own. It's self-sufficient. Most of the time, when one talks about painting, one says nothing interesting. It's all rather superficial. What can one say? Basically, I believe that you simply cannot talk about painting. It just isn't possible. I'm talkative, it's the Irish in me, but frankly, I don't think it's possible. And even if it were, it's not what's important. The important thing for a painter is to paint, and nothing else. The most important thing is to look at the painting, to read the poetry, or listen to the music, not in order to understand it or to know it, but to feel something. I think of myself as a kind of pulverizing machine into which everything I look at is fed. Art is a method of opening up areas of feeling rather than merely an illustration of an object. A picture should be a recreation of an event rather than an illustration of an object. But there is no tension in the pictures unless there is a struggle with the object. I would like my pictures to look as if a human being had passed between them, like a snail, leaving a trail of the human presence and memory trace of past events as the snail leaves its slime. I never go through a day without thinking sometime about death. It just comes into everything that you do, into everything that you see. I realized I was going to die when I was 17. I remember it very, very clearly. I remember looking at a dog shit on the pavement, and I suddenly realized, there it is. This is what life is like. Strangely enough, it tormented me for months, till I came to, as it were, accept that here you are, existing for a second, brushed off like flies on the wall. I had no money. I probably lost it in the casino. But I had some canvases there, which I had already used, so I turned them and discovered that the unprimed side was much easier to work on. And since then I've always worked on the unprimed side of the canvas. If you make a mark on the unprimed side of the canvas, it's there. It's indelibly made. I've always wanted to paint curtains. I love rooms that are hung all around with curtains. I had a feeling that I could make these images much more poignant in the darkness and without colour. You can lose the forms more easily in darkness, can't you? Most of those pictures were done of somebody who was always in a state of unease. And whether that has been conveyed through the pictures, I don't know. But I suppose, in attempting to trap this image, that as this man was very neurotic and almost hysterical, this may possibly have come across in the paintings. I see every image all the time in a shifting way and almost in shifting sequences, so that one can take it from more or less what is called ordinary figuration to a very, very far point. Of course, what, in a curious way, one's always hoping to do is to paint the one picture that will annihilate all the others, to concentrate everything into one painting. Well, unfortunately, I've never yet been able to make the one image that sums up all the others. So, one image against the others seems to be able to say the thing more. I find it so difficult to do one figure that generally seems enough. And of course, I've got an obsession with doing the one perfect image. In the complicated stage in which painting is now, the moment there are several figures, at any rate several figures on the same canvas, the story